Hello and welcome to the Climbing Daily Friday Gear Show. Now, I don't know if you've heard the news, it's kind of been a bit understated, but Petzl have released a new GriGri. So today we're going to be talking about it, discussing the features and finding out why it's different from the other GriGris already on the market. That's right, this is the new GriGri, the GriGri 3, except for some reason they haven't called it the GriGri 3, they've just called it the GriGri. But for today's show, just to make it clearer, I'm going to be calling this the GriGri 3. So we're going to be discussing what's different about it, what they've changed, what they've altered, and whether it's worth upgrading to the new GriGri 3 from the older models. Now, before, I think Petzl had a bit of an issue with the way they were branding the GriGri. So you had the older GriGri 2 and then the newer GriGri Plus. And the problem was it wasn't clear why you should buy one over the other, because the GriGri Plus was apparently designed more for beginners, but they've upgraded loads of it. So the insides were different, the lever was different, and it was actually a better GriGri. But then the GriGri 2 was for more advanced climbers, apparently. It was just tricky. Well, all that has been cleared up now. So the GriGri 2, this one here in my hand, that's being phased out. Very soon you won't be able to buy this in any shops, and most outdoor shops are currently selling this off at a cheaper price. The GriGri Plus, that will be continued, and this is aimed really firmly at that beginner market. Climbers coming into the climbing world, climbing a lot indoors and just getting started with the world of assisted braking. The new GriGri 3, and well done if you're following me so far, this is for advanced climbers. It's been slimmed down and perfected, and if you're a climber who goes out sport climbing all the time, you're going to be wanting the GriGri 2 over the GriGri Plus. So while we're looking at the differences between the three models, price is a good place to start. So the older GriGri 2, and this is heavily discounted because it's not being made anymore. This is €55 on the EpicTV shop, and that's compared to €69 for the GriGri 3. Now, is that price difference worth it? Well, yeah, look, if you're on a budget and you're desperate for a GriGri, try to snap the GriGri 2 up. I think we've only got 2 on the EpicTV shop, but a warning, the upgrade for the GriGri 3 is absolutely worth that extra money. So I would really only recommend you go for the GriGri 2 if budget is a super issue to you. If not, spend a bit more and get a better GriGri. Now, the GriGri Plus, the more beginner model, that is €89. So there is quite a difference between the advanced model and the beginner's model. Why? Why is that for this GriGri? Well, you get what you pay for, and the GriGri Plus comes with a load of extra features, including the panic handle. So if you open up the handle by accident, or if you get scared, the climber whizzes through the system and probably hits the ground. With the panic handle, it clicks back an extra step and stops the climber before they hit the ground. So a brilliant feature if you're starting out, or you're teaching kids, or you're just new to climbing. It's also got this lever here, this button, and that switches between top rope and lead mode. In top rope mode, it's slightly grabbier, so it holds the rope better when you're doing your V-knee 1, 2, 3, belaying the climber. And the lead mode, that makes it all a bit smoother when you're giving slack. So there are 2 fantastic features on the GriGri Plus, and that's why there's a price hike. So as well as the price, there's also a weight difference between the GriGri Plus and the GriGri 3. The GriGri Plus weighs 200 grams, while the GriGri 3 weighs 175 grams. And the GriGri Plus is bulkier in terms of its profile and its just whole feel. The GriGri 3 is more slimline. Does it matter? I'm never really sure about this, because honestly, if you're using a GriGri, you're usually going single pitch sport climbing, you're kind of shoving it in a bag, walking not very far to a crag, and then just getting on with it. Rarely, and I say rarely because sometimes you do, are you taking this up multi-pitches. So yeah, it's nice to have slimmer, lighter gear, and for sure the GriGri 3 does that, but I'm not sure it's really a sort of defining factor between getting this one and getting the other model. Okay, so GriGri 3. Why is it different? What have they upgraded? And what have they learned? What have they changed with this new device? Trying to make myself invisible. So the GriGri 3 is 30% smoother at lowering than the GriGri 2. And that's because they've learned from the GriGri Plus and they've totally redone the innards, the insides of the GriGri. You can see it looks different from the GriGri 2. Different material, a much smoother material. There's a much wider gap at the top and there's this little extra bar that helps feed the rope round properly. It's all just been tweaked and redesigned to optimize your rope feed through the system. And while we talk about ropes, that has been changed as well. It can now take ropes from 8.5mm to 11mm. Now, I always reckon with all the GriGris, if you're using a rope at the extremes of that spectrum, it's not going to perform as well. There's a sort of middle ground optimization where your rope is better. But GriGri and Petzl have thought about that. They've realized that most climbers use one rope, and I'm the same with this. I've got my Tendon Master Pro that I use outside, and then if I go into the gym, I tend to take that rope as well. And it's round about the 9.2mm width. So what they've done is they've gone, okay, so most climbers use one rope, that rope might be a little bit thicker, and they've optimized the performance for that middle ground of rope. It's something that's very, very subtle and not shouted about, but it is an upgrade on the GriGri 3.
Trying to make myself invisible.
Now the handle on the GriGri 3 is interesting. It's a lot longer and wider than the handle on the older GriGri 2 model. In fact, it's similar to the GriGri Plus. And that's on purpose. What they've done is they've taken the handle, or the idea of the handle, from the original, the way back in the day GriGri 1, which was a lot longer and wider, and they've stuck it on the new GriGri 3. And what that means is the ratios improve. So there's a 3:1 lowering ratio on the GriGri 3 compared to a 2:1 on the GriGri 2. So lowering will feel easier, more intuitive, and just better for everyone. So that's a great upgrade. Perhaps they're going to upgrade the GriGri Plus 0.2. Who knows, speculation, and it doesn't matter. The thumb catch has changed as well. That's now a lower profile, a little bit longer, and feels a lot better when you hook your finger under to give slack. Now the GriGri 3 is actually 12% lighter than the GriGri 2, and you can really feel that difference when you're holding it, and that blew my mind. How are they upgrading this thing but keeping the weight low? Well, it's to do with the materials that they actually use and a few clever weight-saving features. So as we discussed before, it's a totally different metal and that's lighter, and the whole thing has just been streamlined down. Also, if you look at the GriGri Plus, there used to be this big metal section over the top of the thumb catch. Now that's because if you're a beginner and you're lowering, you're putting the rope over that section, which is what you should do for all of them, but you're putting way more force into it. You're really pushing down on it because you're not used to it. So you needed that extra heavier bit of metal to protect the thumb catch. With the GriGri 3, you're of course an advanced climber, and therefore you don't need that extra bit of metal. So they take that off and boom, you've saved some weight. Okay, so there you go. That is the three models and why they differ. So the GriGri 3, and I call it a 3 because remember it is called the GriGri, but I just wanted to make it unconfusing for this. It is a significant upgrade over your GriGri 2. So should you upgrade? This is tricky. I reckon if you've got a GriGri 2 and it's not broken or damaged, then probably not. It's not worth spending another 69 euros on your GriGri 3. Use your GriGri 2 until it gets to the point where you can't use it anymore or you lose it. However, if you're in the market for an assisted braking device, definitely go for the GriGri 3 over the GriGri 2. And I say that even with the discounted price on the GriGri 2. This thing is just better in every single way, and Petzl have put some serious thought into it. I originally thought it must just be a color change and maybe a slight tweak, but they've totally redesigned it. And I quite like the fact they haven't shouted about it. They just quietly got on with improving an already fantastic device. When buying a GriGri, you need to think about what kind of climber you are. If you're a gym rat, if you're slightly newer to climbing, if you top rope as much as you lead climb, then I would recommend going for the GriGri Plus. You might as well have those extra safety features. The panic handle is brilliant, the top rope / lead climbing switch is very, very useful, and the upgrades on this are almost as good as your GriGri 3. However, if you're an advanced climber, if you go to sport crags, if you're lowering and descending and hoisting up the rope, then do go for the GriGri 3. I like the slimline design, I like the lighter weight, and I'm very impressed with all the internals that they've upgraded and changed. So there you go. This is sort of a strange gear show because we just wanted to do a comparison. We will be putting the GriGri 3 more to the test in the future, perhaps comparing it to other assisted braking devices like the ClickUp Plus, so watch this space. Do comment below if you've used the new device and the old ones, what you think of it. Do you like GriGris or do you just find it overcomplicated? Comment below and let me know. That's it. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.